Hello guys, it is me again, it's HorrorFan34, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to day 8 of my 31 Days of October reviews of movies. So I hope you guys are enjoying these so far. As I said before, this is each day of October. I'm doing one horror film per day for the month of October. So now that we're on day 8, because I know I reviewed a variety of ones. I did some classics, some classic ones that I love, some underrated ones that I love, things like that. So for each day of October, I'm reviewing one horror film. These are some of my personal favorite horror films. Now that we did a few classics, a few underrated gems, and then a horror remake. Why not review another classic film that I love? And you can tell by the title, that review is going to be on Hellraiser. Now, Hellraiser was a film that came out I believe in 1987. I want to make sure I get this right. Just want to be sure. Yeah, 87. Got it right here. 1987 film, directed by Clive Barker. Written and directed by Clive Barker, to be exact. I don't really know if Clive Barker really went on to direct a lot of other films. But, I mean, Hellraiser, what more can be said about Hellraiser that hasn't been said before? I mean, it's just... Do I need to say more about Hellraiser? I mean, this is going to be a really tough one to review because Hellraiser is a film that is just a classic. It's a classic horror film. It's one of the best horror films of the 80s. It's one of the best horror films of all time. I love this film a lot. Pinhead is definitely one of my favorite iconic horror characters, who's played excellently well by Doug Bradley. I got a chance to meet Doug Bradley at Monster Mania back in 2012, and he was a pretty cool guy. He always writes like the same thing when he signs autographs. Like whenever you meet him, he'll always say like the same thing to like everybody. He'll say like to whoever, he'll personalize it to you, and he'll say, "See you in hell, Doug Bradley." I always get a kick out of that. I think that's a lot of fun. But the Hellraiser, the first Hellraiser film, what more can be said that hasn't been said before? I mean, I know the film was got critical praise for its originality, which I can see. Had a budget of only $1 million, and it made $14 million worldwide, I think, and got some good critical notices. And many people nowadays consider this film a classic, and rightfully so. I mean, this is one of those horror films from the 80s that you just remember. I mean, you remember the character of Pinhead. And on top of that, too, this also has one of the best final girls in horror films, Kirsty Cotton, played by Ashley Lawrence. Now, definitely, I feel like, though, Kirsty Cotton is really one of those underrated, like, final girls that no one really, like, brings up. And when people think of, like, final girls in horror films, people say, like, oh, Laurie Strode, Alice from Friday the 13th, Nancy from Nightmare on Elm Street, things like that, but they're like the main ones, but no one ever really seems to bring up Kirsty, and I feel like Kirsty kind of gets forgotten about a little bit. Because Ashley Lawrence as Kirsty is great. She's a great final girl in horror history, especially for slasher films like this in the 80s and things like that. Also got to meet Ashley Lawrence along with Doug Bradley back in 2012. Although I got on 2 separate autographs. I wish I would just gotten both of them on the Hellraiser poster, but that was when I was first new to conventions, and nowadays I get it. If I have like one item, then I just get multiple signatures on that one if they're in that movie. But anyways, I'm getting sidetracked here, but that's why I'm saying it's kind of hard for me to review a film that everybody knows about. I mean, Hellraiser is just a film that's just a classic. It's really creepy. It's got a really creepy premise. It's very bloody and graphic. I mean, the whole, the puzzle box and, the Cenobites, and of course, the Cenobite characters, you have Butterball, the Chatterer with the chattering with the teeth, And of course you got, you know, Pinhead himself, which is right here. But, you know, this is just, you know, that's why I'm saying it's really hard for me to review Hellraiser, because Hellraiser is really one of those films from the 80s, horror film-wise, that you just remember so much. It's a very well-done film. It's very well directed by Clive Barker. You have a very solid cast of Doug Bradley and Ashley Lawrence, and of course, you know, you have Andrew Robinson, Claire Higgins. It's a very good musical score by Christopher Young, who's done a lot of films, and it suits this film very, very well. I mean, the first Hellraiser film as well. I mean, it's got a really creepy concept, and it's also very bloody. It's very graphic. It's very disturbing. It's very, very, very weird film. Very, very weird, but it's a film that, you know, just everybody remembers. I mean, Pinhead is just one of those horror icon characters that you just don't forget. You know, the puzzle box. Like, everybody knows about the puzzle box because, you know, it's Hellraiser. How can you not remember the puzzle box? And, you know, Doug Bradley's portrayal of Pinhead is just so well done. You know, Doug Bradley plays this character so well. You know, even like in the later sequels, how some of them weren't really the best. Like, Doug Bradley was easily the best part of all these movies. I mean, because whenever you think of Doug Bradley, at Pinhead, it's always going to be Doug Bradley. Because, like, nowadays with, like, the newer Hellraiser films, like Judgment, Revelations, things like that, it's just like, it's not a Hellraiser film if there's no Doug Bradley. Without Doug Bradley, then it's not Hellraiser, because Doug Bradley is the true Pinhead. That's like, because I remember doing one of these, I talked about this in a tag video about the Chucky films. I was like, you know, without Brad Dourif, there's no Chucky. Without Doug Bradley, there's no Pinhead. You know, with no Warwick Davis, there's no Leprechaun. With no Robert Englund, there's no Freddy Krueger. I mean, they're the true originals. Warwick Davis is Leprechaun. Doug Bradley is Pinhead. Robert Englund is Freddy. You know, and Brad Dourif is Chucky. Same thing, like I said here with Doug Bradley. I mean, Doug Bradley is Pinhead, and without Doug Bradley, then I don't really consider it Hellraiser, because it's not Doug Bradley playing Pinhead. Because Doug Bradley is the true Pinhead. He is Pinhead, and you remember Doug Bradley because his performance as Pinhead is just so well done. It's very creepy. It's just so well done. You know, Ashley Lawrence is great as a final girl, and the other cast members do a fine job too. Great music by Christopher Young. It's very bloody, it's graphic, it's disturbing. Very memorable characters besides Pinhead, you know, Butterball, the Chatterer with the teeth, and all that stuff. I mean, I don't think I need to say more about Hellraiser. That's why it's really hard for me to review a film that's just such a classic by many people. But if you haven't seen Hellraiser, then you're definitely missing out. And in case you guys don't know, this is the 20th anniversary edition. I picked up, actually, the convention I actually met Doug Bradley and Ashley Lawrence. I actually picked up this DVD after I met them in one of the vendor rooms. This is the 20th anniversary edition from Anchor Bay. We have interviews with Christopher Young, Ashley Lawrence, Andrew Robinson, who was the dad. Interview with Doug Bradley, commentary with Clive Barker and Ashley Lawrence, and the screenwriter, TV spots, trailers, lots of good stuff on this DVD. So, classic. So that is it for my review for Hellraiser, and thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Alright guys, take care.